The Momentum of Empty Nest Full Life. My name is Susan Alefi. I'm a wealth management advisor and CEO of Serenity Financial Planning. I'm thrilled to introduce Jill Savage, who's here with me today. Jill is a highly esteemed author with 14 published books to her name. She is also a passionate speaker specializing in coaching mothers, empty nesters, and addressing topics related to marital life. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today, Jill.
No, thanks for having me, Susan.
Over the span of 3 decades, I have had the privilege of working with individuals and couples to navigate and transition into the empty nest phase of their lives or retirement. I understand that this life transition can have a significant financial and emotional impact on one's life. And I can genuinely empathize and connect with those going through the stage because I too have experienced the empty nest phase. Jill, when a person is transitioning into a different stage of life, can you share with us from your experience, what is your message on how to continue to love your children, but also learn to lovingly detach from their life at the same time? It must be very difficult.
It is. You pour your life into these kids, and then they have the nerve to just up and leave.
How dare they?
I know. How dare they? And yet, motherhood is one of the only jobs that your job is to work yourself out of a job. And then when you're successful at that, you're not always ready for the the painful reality. I remember when my youngest got married and left home. And so, he was my youngest of 5. Okay. So I'd been launching kids for 14 years at that point. And I went to the grocery store to just do my weekly shopping. And I stopped in the cereal aisle and just out of habit went to grab a certain kind of cereal. And that's when I lost it on aisle 10,
Oh,
because this was my son's favorite cereal. And I realized I don't need to buy this anymore. He doesn't live at my house anymore. And so I think that we all have those kind of roller coaster experiences. And in my book, Empty Nest Full Life, and also in my Empty Nest Full Life course, I talk about the things that we need to hold on to and the things that we need to let go of. And I think that that is really key to navigating the roller coaster of emotions that happens in the empty nest. And so we have to be willing to examine those things that we have to let go of. I think that's super important. And that's where we kind of begin detaching from our kids. And so, we want to stay obviously attached to them, but we have to detach from the details of their lives. And so we have to let go of opinions. We have to let go of, we've been leveraging our opinion in their life for a long time. But now, unless they ask for our opinion, we no longer have the freedom to really offer it. And so we have to, I say we belong to the Keep It Shut Club. And that really makes such a difference in our relationship with our adult kids, because if we keep leveraging our opinion, then they feel like we're criticizing them and we're telling them what to do and that we don't trust them to make their own decisions. And you know what? They're going to make decisions that are different. They're going to make decisions that we're going to look at it and go, oh, that's not good. That's going to hurt. Oh, but we have to let them make their mistakes so they can also learn their lessons. We have to let go of traditions, things that we have done on a regular basis for many, many years. They served a purpose, but now we may need to change those because they are now establishing their own adult life and maybe even their own families, and they'll have their own traditions. And so those are some of the things we have to begin to let go of, and that will help us to begin to make that transition into the empty nest.
Wonderful words of advice. Absolutely. Jill, you say that the emptiness season of life has a way of bringing idols to the surface. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times we don't, I look at it as um, an idol or a little god would be things that we would like serve or things that we would worship. And without realizing it, it's like we kind of put our kids on the altar and we say, our kids are, if they're doing well, then, oh, I'm doing well as a mother. But if they're not doing well, oh, I'm not doing well as a mother. And so that becomes when we have the idol of identity. And we begin to kind of worship that and we go, oh, that's not healthy. My joy, the peace in my life should not be connected to any other person, even my children. And so we want to become aware of this and how we can build our identity around the wrong things. Another idol is worry. Worry, I say that worry is the worship of our circumstances. And maybe it's the worship of our kids' circumstances because we do a lot of worrying. And it doesn't help us. And so we have to tear down some of those idols because they are emotionally tugging us in an unhealthy direction.
Yes, absolutely. Worry, I mean, there could be a separate webinar just on how to detach yourself and stop worrying. It definitely, thank you for those words of advice. Can you address some of the challenges that parents in the sandwich generation who have young adult children about to leave home, but are also encountering marital problems as a result of the stress from this detachment? Both sides, the mother and father, are going through this detachment from, losing their kids, if you will, but then it's causing marital problems.
Yeah. So what happens is moms and dads handle the empty nest transition differently. And different personalities and temperaments handle it differently. And some of us view it through a lens. I like to say, when you look at the empty nest, you're either going to be a boo-hooer or a woo-hooer. Which one are you? Are you crying and you're so sad? Or are you excited about the new possibilities and the new freedom that you have in life? And so it's possible that a husband and wife, one might be a boo-hooer and one might be a woo-hooer. So they're really missing each other. Not only that, but as your kids are entering the teen years and then they are launching either into college or out on their own, what happens in the marriage is that we don't even realize that our kids have been a buffer for our marriage. We have found connection by being at the same events, by sitting in the bleachers at their sporting activities, by sitting in the seats at their musical events. And so we have found commonality with our kids, but then our kids leave. And then we kind of look at each other and go, oh, what do we have in common now? I mean, other than we share those kids, but their activities are no longer connecting us. And this is where people like my husband and I, who are full-time marriage coaches, help couples to find that reconnection because it's there. They just have to find it again. And oftentimes they have some accumulated hurt that honestly has been kind of tucked away. But now that the kids are gone, it kind of can raise to the surface. And so, at that point, a lot of times people feel like maybe they're done. Maybe this relationship has run its course. But that isn't true at all. If you're willing to dig in and do a little bit of work and explore some of the places that maybe have been put on a shelf and locked away for a little while, but you can actually open them up and begin to explore them individually and together. There's incredible opportunity for what we call marriage 2.0.
Absolutely. Your coaching session can be profound on helping a couple who's going through a difficult time come back together and heal. So if you know someone who's navigating the emptiness phase or are close to retirement and could benefit from a financial guidance or benefit from speaking to an expert marital coach, Jill and Mark Savage, please don't hesitate to reach out to them or myself, and we are happy to help you any way we can. And thank you for being with us today.